Hey guys, can Evening Primrose Oil help with eczema? Let's talk about that. Now, eczema is also known as atopic dermatitis. Now, with Evening Primrose Oil, we'll just call it EPO. One of the things, it's got a number of compounds in it, but one of the things it has is gamma linoleic acid. And that's important because that can be converted to prostaglandin E1, and down the road we go. And what happens is it can help regulate your immune system. And then by another pathway, it starts getting involved with what are called thromboxanes, and that helps modulate inflammation. So we're addressing that immune system and that inflammation by giving the body this gamma linoleic acid, or this GLA. So that's going to become important later. Later on in the video, I'll talk a little bit more specifically about that. Now, as far as eczema, the atopic dermatitis, one thing I always like people to think about is usually if you have something going on with your skin, whether it's eczema, whether it's acne, psoriasis, a lot of these things, that's tends to be a external kind of projection of what's going on inside the body. There is something going on inside the body that's not on point, whether it be diet, whether it be a nutrient deficiency, and we see this eczema, so we want to think about it that way. So here's what the studies show. We'll talk about the studies. I'm also going to talk about the personal feedback I've gotten from people who use it. So as far as the studies go, um, it's conflicting, to be honest with you. The first one, for example, they gave folks 2 to 3 grams of the evening primrose oil twice a day. And they did that for about 1 month to 5 months. It varied. What they did find is that the extent of the atopic dermatitis, the eczema, shrunk down. It wasn't as a wide an area. The itch and the dryness also improved. However, another group got 6 to 8 grams of EPO a day. They did it in divided doses. Okay, that wasn't all at once. They did it for 12 to 16 weeks, and they saw no improvement. Okay, and then even making the waters even muddier, another study gave EPO 2.58 grams of EPO plus they gave 0.642 grams of fish oil, and they did that twice a day again for 16 weeks. It actually made the cracking redness, made it worse. So was that the fish oil or the EPO? So I will say there's some conflicting evidence, but I want you to think about some things that are going on with these studies. First of all, they weren't overly large studies. The methods were a bit different. They didn't really get a great idea of how severe was the atopic dermatitis at the start. How long had it been since these people were diagnosed? So there's some critiques that could for sure be made about these studies, but overall, I do think there's promise. Now, and more importantly, let's talk about the personal feedback I've gotten. I've known a number of folks who've used EPO for skin conditions, not just eczema, and by and large, I've received positive feedback on that. Now, what about side effects? I've made a completely separate video devoted just talking about EPO side effects. I'll put a link to that in the description so you can watch that if that's something. Now, let's go back to that talk earlier about what's going on internally can be, coming out in the skin. A lot of people will ask me, I am not a fan of taking omega 6s as supplements. We usually get enough in our diet, and a lot of foods do contain them. So, not people have asked, well, should I not take EPO then? This is kind of a sidebar, but there are people with a condition called pyroluria, and essentially they need to supplement with gamma linoleic acid. Okay, it's not a common condition, but these folks can show up with a lot of these skin conditions, and it's just because of this particular disease state that they need to get more GLA in their diet. So this can be one of those cases where supplementing can be really helpful. Now, do you have this? I'm not saying that. It's not a overly common condition, but it's something to think about. So in this particular case, I wouldn't be against supplementing with EPO. As far as the dosing is concerned, you can see up here that we're looking anywhere from, for example, in this study, it was 2 to 3 grams of EPO twice a day, and they did it for 1 to 5 months. So I kind of think that would be the ballpark I would shoot for. And I would look for a product that has a GLA content of around 8 to 10.5% of that GLA in there. I will include some links to products that fit that bill in the description. You're going to see other constituents of EPO marketed on the label. In my opinion, those are not as important. It's really the GLA content in this case. So with that being said, make sure to go to my website, curtis-alexander.com. I have a free checklist there for you for other natural therapies that actually very effective that I personally use. Okay, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you'll love that. Please like, subscribe. It helps the algorithm, helps these videos get out to more people. So hope this was helpful, you guys. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.